This is Becca. From all accounts, she is a very normal elementary school student who loves school. She is not what comes to mind when you think of mental health. In fact, she has avoided many of the risk factors that are often associated with mental health. She comes from a stable, middle-class family. They have open lines of communication, promote Becca's self-esteem, and are cognizant to help equip all three of their children for their future. But last year they were rocked with a mental health issue they didn't see coming: anxiety and school refusal.
So it's overwhelming. All of it's overwhelming. Our journey with anxiety and just mental health in general has been extremely overwhelming. But I guess the hardest part is coming out and talking about it publicly. It makes me nervous and concerned because it's not just my story. It's also Becca's story, and Ivy's and Noel's and Andy's and our extended family. So I have some reservations. I'm nervous, I'm concerned, I'm worried. I know the stigma, right? There's a lot, but we're ready.
Anxiety-based school refusal affects 2 to 5% of school-aged children. Last year, what started for Becca as a simple intestinal issue turned into a full-fledged battle every morning.
She would spend all day in the bathroom if she could, like 24/7. And we understand now that it was like manifestation of anxiety, but we had no idea what was going on. And so we would try to get her to school. We couldn't, we would physically try to pick her up and take her to school, and we couldn't. And so she missed probably most of December, and then the last week and a half of November. She would say, "I would rather die than go to school." And I believed her, because when you have this extreme fear, and again, Becca, she doesn't fall far from the tree because I have anxiety, right? So I know exactly what she's feeling like. It's like this primal, raw fear that comes from your brainstem, and you will do anything in your power to avoid feeling it. And so when she said, "I'd rather die than go to school," for her, I think that was very much her truth. And as a parent, that's really hard to hear, and not knowing, okay, what am I going to do? I don't know what my resources are. I don't know. It's embarrassing to have to call the school every morning and say, and really that's where it begins, is calling the front office, right? And it's to say, "Hey, my kid's not going to be in again. We're going to have to take another mental health day."
For schools, it's important to understand the difference between school refusal and truancy. Truancy generally refers to an illegitimate absence from school. A common characteristic includes without parent permission. School refusal, on the other hand, refers to anxiety-based absenteeism. These children have difficulty going to or remaining in school and are often described as fearful or anxious.
And every morning, I think it's important to say, Becca would say, "Today's the day." So Becca wants to go to school.
Yep. The previous night she would specifically say that, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to wear this and it's going to happen tomorrow. Never did.
So I think that's a misconception, is when people think, "Oh, school refusal, right? These kids don't want to go." No, they want to go. Becca wanted to go. It was just as soon as she reached that threshold, she couldn't make herself go across. And so that's where Andy and I came in, and we would physically make her go across. But yeah, so this is Becca's room. So it's a lot of prompting. It's come in, get your shoes on, your socks on, get your shirt on. She's pretty good about going to the front door, but it was always just crossing that threshold, which was the hard part. And she missed pretty much all of December, about 2 days, I'd say. And this is the threshold that she wanted to go to school, but she just could not cross. It's right here. It was embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have to say, I don't know why. I know it's because of anxiety, but I don't know how to get my kid to school. And that's my background. I'm a school psychologist, and I specifically trained to deal with behavior, and none of it was working. Constant compromise. I'll let you stay home till 10, but then you have to go, right? So we had all these different contingencies. I'll let you do this, but then you have to do this, and nothing was working. And then her anxiety would go up. My anxiety would go up. I'd feel like a failure, and in the end, I'd end up calling the school, and I'd have to say, "Nope, not today." And so after we met with the professionals in the community and talked to the school, we created a different plan, which was, you will go, but you will go with a struggle or without. Then for Becca to maintain her dignity within the neighborhood, we chose to do back doors, and then Andy would back up to the garage, and then he would carry her and keep her safe, and then I would drive. And she's strong. She's very, very strong. And it hurts. It really, really hurts.
So I'd have her held at this point. Annie would open the doors, both doors. I'd take her out. Annie's hopefully in the car by now.
We live in a wonderful neighborhood, and the homes are pretty close together, right? So we also want to keep her dignity, like as a neighbor, right? And it's embarrassing, to be completely honest. And so what we do is we try to find the closest space, like car to home, right? Which is the back door.
She's the driver.
Dogs would be in the bathroom so they wouldn't run away.
Yep, dogs would be in the bathroom because we have to keep that gate open.
And then it's open up the double doors, open up the gate, make sure my door is open, Andy's door is open, right? So I'll get all that in place, and then it's go time. And then Andy's car will be backed up right here with the door already open, so he would get in with Becca, close the door, and we ask her, we're like, okay, and she wants to go, right? Like, her clothes are picked out, her clothes are on, today's the day. And she's like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. I'm like, look, I know, but you don't have a choice. So you could just either go with a struggle or without a struggle. And then, I don't want to go, I didn't, and so with a struggle is what it's going to look like today. So, and so just not knowing what to do, right? And at the end of the day, she would feel so bad, because if she saw a bruise, she would be like, you know, Mommy, I'm so sorry, because she feels terrible. And this is full-on school refusal, but we didn't really share what that looked like to anybody. And I remember being in the kitchen, and I'm thinking, okay, it has to be as non-reinforcing as possible. You have to be like mean mom, and then just collapsing into a puddle and sobbing, because I thought, is this our new norm, right? Is this what her future looks like? Do I homeschool her? Like, is this, like, I struggle to be even a good mom. I don't want to have to be a teacher on top of that. I need to tell the school, right? Like, I just need to open up, and we need to have this conversation of what school refusal looks like, what we're struggling with. It's embarrassing. I feel like a failure, like I should be able to figure it out, especially with my background, right? And so I met with Mr. Schrapp, and I just said, this is what school refusal looks like for us. I think once we made it very clear to the school, like, this is what we're dealing with, this is what it looks like, we need help, then. And they're more than willing to help before that. It's just that nobody knew, because we kept it to ourselves. And then he came back, I think we met a week later, and it was whoever he talked to, he said, we're all in agreement that whatever you need, let us know, and then we'll make it happen. And for me, that was a huge moment, because it was like, okay, validation that Bellows is listening, right? Like, they acknowledge that this is, although we can't see her brain, we have not seen a brain scan, they know that what we're dealing with is real.
Once they reached out to the school, everything changed. The challenges at home continued for some time, but the willingness to help Becca lifted a cloud off of Annie and her family. One of the first things the school did was to eliminate Becca's unexcused absences. Getting Becca to school was still their responsibility, but now that the school understood her struggles, they were able to get a re-entry plan in place that included a compassionate and supportive team, routines, and structures. The re-entry plan included dropping off at 9 o'clock after school had already started, using the most discreet door in the building, having a greeter, and establishing a way for Becca to have control over the process.
We went home, talked to Becca, came up with a system, and she is a girl of strong convictions, right? And so it has to be, if it's not Becca's way, then it's really hard for her to get behind it, right, and to have ownership of it. And so she came up with this Post-it system where anytime after 11:30 you can pull out a Post-it, put it on your desk, and that signals to your teacher, hey, I'm feeling uncomfortable, can somebody check in with me? And for her, that definitely translated to, I want to go home, right? But her teacher knew it was more of like, I'm going to check in with you, I'm going to see how you're doing, I'm going to see if I can redirect you. But also, her teacher was great about honoring the system and saying, hey, if you want to go home, that's okay too.
After 2 weeks, Becca was attending school for the full day, but it wasn't without difficulties. Like a boiling tea kettle, Becca began to succeed at school only to save her struggles for home. For her parents, this was a win, and now a new norm that their family lives with.
She's doing great. Like, Becca is doing great. We all are. For me, moving forward, it's like, okay, this is our norm. Now I know, right? Like, we are going to have triggers and we are going to fall. But now I know that it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to be very vulnerable and open about what we're going through, and to say, hey, it gives me hope, right? Like, we're doing great right now, but that does not mean that a year from now we're going to be doing great, but that's okay. Because there are people in the community that can lift us up and help us along the way.
We can now accept this as a mental health success story, but it's also indicative of all mental health crisis, situational and unpredictable.